very good afternoon and very warm welcome to yet another edition of Trendz. We'll be keeping you up to date with all things in art and entertainment, both locally and internationally. Very good afternoon to you. I'm Zonke Dikana and I'll be your host for the next hour.
And I go by the name of Nadia Adams, bringing you snippets from the world of showbiz, just in case you missed it. We've got some great stuff lined up for you, so best you stay comfy. And while you're doing that, follow us on Twitter. We are at Trendz on SABC. US singer Chris Brown is being sued by an unnamed woman after she claims she was raped during a party at his house on 23rd Feb. The woman is suing Breezy and several members of his entourage for sexual assault, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, among other charges, which amount to 212 million rand.
I can sing so well.
In the suit filed this week at the Los Angeles County Superior Court, the alleged victim is listed only as Jane Doe, and she claims the Freaky Friday singer's friend Lowell Grissom Jr., aka Everybody Knows Low, raped her twice at Breezy's house. Jane Doe also alleges Chris supplied guests with cocaine, molly and marijuana.
AKA has stepped into the debate surrounding Black Coffee's performance in Israel, telling the Megaverse that he would get the first flight over there if the coins were right. Black Coffee caught major heat from fans, cultural activists and political parties after he performed in Israel last month, despite a cultural boycott against the country.
The Sweet Fire hitmaker said on radio this week that whether he would do the same depended on certain factors. But it was important to understand that Black Coffee is an international artist now, and the money may have made it worth it. When challenged by a caller who said he was disappointed by AKA's stance given he was a public figure and staunch supporter of the ANC, the rapper explained that he was looking out for himself.
Police are investigating the disappearance of an expensive Iron Man suit from a Los Angeles movie prop storage facility. The suit's estimated value sits at over 4 million rand.
The suit apparently went missing from the facility between February and April this year. However, LA police officer Christopher No said a police report was only filed this week. Robert Downey Jr. wore the suit in the original Iron Man film directed by Jon Favreau and released in 2008. After a tough opening weekend, the film went on to earn over 7 billion rand at box offices worldwide. It was the first installment of the multi-billion rand Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And that's all the entertainment news we have for you this afternoon. I leave you in the capable hands of Shantae, who will be holding you down for the next hour.
No. Yes. Yes.
Sports Live every Saturday and Sunday at 7:30 p.m.
SABCnews.com is your one-stop digital portal to all the news you need. With a website that is easy to use on mobile, SABC News prides itself in being the primary source of public service content across multiple platforms. Watch live streams of all the big news events on the SABC News YouTube channel, which is one of the most viewed South African YouTube channels globally. And catch up on the best of SABC television and radio news. Follow breaking news on all of the SABC News social media platforms. Interact with SABC News on Facebook and stay connected on Twitter for the latest headlines and real-time updates by our reporters. SABC News, everywhere.
Welcome back, you're watching Trends. Well, Sun City will once again host the 24th installment of the South African Music Awards next month. And this year there has been a few noticeable changes. For the first time, the Music Awards will have a female chairperson. Some categories have also been spruced up, and the awards also deliver a mixed bag of nominations. So every week until the last Saturday of the month, we will be talking to various musicians who have been nominated. Today I am joined in studio by a Sanal musician who has also been nominated this year. A very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us. This, I believe, is your first nomination. How are you feeling? That's so big.
It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. It's more of a confirmation that what I'm doing, or the path that I'm walking, I'm walking on the right path there. Yeah, that's how I feel right
Take
now.
us through your journey. I mean, from your first hit single, you've been doing so well.
Yeah.
And now already, you know, just a couple of years, couple of months later, actually, you're being nominated for your very first summer.
Yeah, it's really amazing because last year I was just in studio working on a song, dropped the song with under my own record label as well. So it was more of a learning curve because there's so much that I've learned. There's so much craziness that is happening and beautiful vibes as well. So it's been good and bad. So it's been a bit of a weird journey, but it's cool. It's great.
Take us through that journey and take us through where you draw your inspiration from. A lot of your songs are different, but at the same time, you can definitely hear that it is a Sanal song.
Yeah, this is insane because I grew up in KZN, in a very small town called Moiva. I only got to listen to only 2 radio stations, and those mainly the other ones just playing Zulu music and the other ones play English. So I tried blending the two, fuse the two. So that's how I came up with the sound, and
And you've managed to fuse them absolutely beautifully. Your music is not only recognized in South Africa but continentally. So speaking of the summers, and you know it is the 24th edition, take us through the growth of South African music and the love that you've received not only at home but continentally.
Gosh, that's amazing. It's not even continentally anymore. It's world. It's globally now. So it's been amazing. It's really a great feeling when you are creative and your art is being appreciated. Right now, as I'm going to the summers, I never saw myself going to the summits as a platform that is really big. And in terms of South African music, there's a lot. I think there's. I'm a geek. I would consider myself a geek. There's a lot of us who are coming out now. The guys who were just behind the studio didn't want to do interviews. So there's more of those guys coming out, and the sound obviously is going to change. The influences and the internet is really playing a major role in this whole thing.
Now, you're very precise about you know, the artists that you collaborate with. Who would you like to collaborate with going forward?
Good, that's a great question. I'll go for Shikana now.
Definitely.
And there's another guy from Swaziland. His name is Tenderness. He's a producer as well. We're on the same vibe, electronic. And those are for now. I've already worked with Mr. Easy from Nigeria. Everything is going to be released soon.
So would you describe then your sound as electronic?
Yes, I would.
And what essentially does electronic mean?
This is. I was really struggling to box the genre of music I'm making right now, and then the internet again came to my my rescue. And I've kind of looked it up. I was like, what do I call this? And then I found out that electronic music actually covers a lot of various subgenres of any genre. So that's how they group it. But I'd love to call it African dance music, but I don't have the powers right now to really name a genre and then be out there. But for now, just standing for electronic, yeah.
Definitely. Well, your music has definitely been well received, not only, of course, as you mentioned, in South Africa, but globally. Just before we wrap it up, what are you most looking forward to, the 24th edition of Summers, your very first one, Andy?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the performances because as artists, we usually don't see each other. We're behind the stage, so this time around I'm going to be sitting down and watching all of these and enjoying them. That's what I'm really looking forward to,
Definitely. Thank you very much for joining us in the studio this afternoon. And very congratulations to you once again, and holding thumbs for you. And that song is going to be in my head all throughout the course of the morning. What a beautiful way to start off the show. Well, a feature-length documentary will also be released in South Africa later this year. And this is about a young man as well as women who travelled from overseas, mostly the UK, on top of secret missions during the 1960s and the 1970s to aid the ANC at a time when the group's leadership was mostly jailed. While posing as tourists, these men and women also carried out subversive support for the ANC, including detonating leaflet bombs in public places. Ahead of completion of the film, the production team are making a last appeal for eyewitnesses to actually come forward. There is one woman in particular that they would like to speak to. Our correspondent, Catherine Drew, takes up the story from London.
London Recruits, a documentary currently in production, tells the story of how Ronnie Castrols assembled small teams of young people to undertake top-secret missions.
Looking for young people who could go secretly as tourists.
While the trailer has been released, the documentary makers are making one last appeal to find eyewitnesses to these campaigns, which made headlines both in South Africa and around the world.
What they are is a false bottom in the suitcase. The first 3 inches here has this.
In particular, they want to find a hotel maid who came across this man and his colleague who were sent to Durban in the summer of 1971, posing as tourists. Dennis Walsh was in his early 20s and a member of Britain's Young Communist League when he was asked if he would travel with this false-bottom suitcase alongside another recruit, Graham White.
It was nerve-wracking, really, really nerve-wracking. You're going through, you've got a false-bottom suitcase, you've got thousands of ANC leaflets. The ANC's ban, just being associated with it sticks you in jail for God knows how long on Robben Island. You know, it's just awful. You've got that, you've got small explosives in the bottom of the suitcase as well, these firework type things. You've got time switches. I mean, it is like something out of Bond. It's like a John le Carrier type novel.
After a few days on the beach, the pair began to scope out where to plant a series of leaflet bombs. As they prepared the bombs in their hotel room, they were in for a surprise.
We're just about to start putting in all the leaflets and bang, the door opens and in walks this black maid. And we're totally gobsmacked. We think, Christ, this is the bloody police. You know, somebody has found out what we're doing. They know what's going on. And we were really, we were totally shocked, totally surprised. And in our surprise, we then blow our cover completely. We give the ANC salute. We offer the young woman a leaflet and indicate that we're up to here in the ANC and really supporting the ANC.
The pair thought of abandoning the mission, but in the end decided to take a chance that the maid would not inform authorities. They planted a series of leaflet bombs the next day around Durban.
The last one, we stood down the street and just waited for it to go off. And it was absolutely fabulous. It went boom, it's right between buildings, it explodes, makes a hell of a noise. And it's up about 30 or 40 foot. It might have been higher, but it was like a mad rush. You just thought, whoa. And everyone's grabbing these leaflets. And there's no way that anyone could have stopped people getting hold of them. And, you know, we thought, oh, that's fantastic, job done.
As they flew home, the pair discovered why the date had been so important. Leaflet bombs had been detonated in 4 other cities at the same time. Dennis and his partner Graham bought the maid a watch as a thank you gift and hope she can be traced in time to take part in the documentary.
We give her the watch and I'll give her a kiss goodbye and thanked her, and it's just great. I mean, it's like we didn't talk about it for 40 years. Then when we did, we always thought of it as that there was 3 of us in that mission. She had been really brave. Had she been caught, it would have been worse for her than it would have been for us.
The team behind the film are at pains to stress that the contribution of the London recruits does not compare with the suffering and bravery of the South African people. However, the director says the story, which was hidden for so long, is compelling.
These people really were sworn to secrecy at the time. They were told they couldn't tell anyone, they mustn't tell anyone, or it might implicate, the wider plan, and indeed colleagues of theirs who are ongoing and doing these things. So there was a sort of huge shroud of secrecy about it, and people had literally not said a word about it for 20, 30, 40 years. So it was an incredible story, and it was one I knew that we just had to tell, because it's one of those fantastic stories of international solidarity, really. And it's a story of, for the most part, young working class British women and men going undercover into apartheid South Africa and genuinely risking liberty and possibly their lives to pull off these missions.
Scenes for the documentary are currently being filmed in South Africa. This unassuming suitcase, which is nearly 50 years old and a part of South African history, will be spruced up and put into service one more time, this time to film scenes for the upcoming documentary.
Well, that is just one of the songs that earned singer and songwriter Zonke Dikana respect in the music industry. Well, since she started her music career back in 2011, the songstress has never disappointed. She has a few albums that have gone double gold. She has won 2 category awards at the 20th South African Music Awards. The list goes on and on and on, and she is joining us in studio today to talk about her new single titled Tonight from her forthcoming album, L-O-V-E. Very good afternoon to you, Zonke. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
As always.
Thank you so much.
Let's firstly talk about the theme of the album. It's LOVE. I do believe it stands for living out various emotions.
Yes.
Take us through what gravitated towards the theme of love.
Well, I mean, I did not start off wanting to have a theme. I've never really themed any of my albums. But this one, I found myself, each and every song I was writing was about love, you know, or, one of those emotions. I think love is a lot of different emotions. Sometimes you feel great, sometimes you don't feel great, sometimes you're super in love, sometimes you're not, sometimes you love your family, sometimes it's like, you know what I mean? So it's not love between a man and a woman, it's just love for your family, love, for life. Your career, friends, and etc. So every song that I wrote, so I decided not to fight that. I'm like, okay, I guess I have a theme this time around. Yeah. So let me just carry on with it.
Go with it.
Yeah.
So we're speaking off air, and I was talking about your career as a whole. Every single time you seem to release a single or an album, you have this huge amount of support from your fans.
Yes.
And, I was saying a lot of artists in the industry don't have that longevity.
Yeah.
Every single time they release something, they get that support. And you mentioned something about being mysterious and how beautiful that is. So take us through that.
Mystique. I think it really does work. I mean, I look at all the artists that I've always loved and looked up to, Prince being one of them. I didn't know anything about Prince. All I knew was his music. So I followed what I knew. You know, Sade, she's not in your face. She doesn't attend anything. She just puts out music. And I just fall in love all over again with her. So I think Mystique really does work. You know, people don't need to see you all the time or hear all the time. So I go underground and then I come out when necessary.
Yeah.
So people are forced to look at the music. You know?
Be in demand. You have your own beehive of some sort, also waiting for your music to come out, calling for Zonke to release some music.
Oh, beehive, please don't let Beyonce's people attack me. No, but I think maybe Zonke team or something, you know, people who have always been there from the beginning. I mean, I released my first album in 2007 under Gala Jasmine. And before that, I was in Germany, you know, where I released my albums there as well before coming back to South Africa. So I have been doing this for a very, very long time. And the fact that every time I release something, there's people waiting, I appreciate so much and I never take it for granted.
Let's talk about the single tonight and, you know, the essence behind it, the inspiration and saying living for the now, not living for tomorrow. And we, you know, specifically, the first thing when I saw that, I thought about Akumzi, you know, who just recently passed away and how important it is, you know, I suppose as a young person or any other person to live for each moment in the now.
Yes, I mean, it's very important, but at the same time, people think when you say live in the moment and, you know, live for now as if there's no tomorrow, be reckless. No, that's not what it means. It means take in every moment, you know, as if it's your last, as if you're not going to have another one, you know. You appreciate your family, you appreciate your partner, you appreciate your friends, your colleagues or whatever, just life in general, you know. You are present in the moment, you know, because we get so busy, you know, everything just goes over our heads, you know, our kids. You know what I mean? You're always running around trying to achieve this and that. So the song tonight is about that. You know, like, what would happen if I only had a few hours tonight? You know, so you want to make that last forever. So it's not necessarily, again, literal, like between partners that are in love. You know, it could be with your family. You know, if you knew that you only had a couple of hours with your family, what would you do?
How would
so
you
that's
live
what,
your
yes, that's
last
what the
moments?
song's about, you know.
And how has it been received so far?
Oh my goodness, it's like an explosion, like you said, you know, it's like people have been, they sit and wait, you know, like, it's amazing to just be able to write and produce and create music that people wait for. Because I always have 4 hours in between all my albums, but every time I release something, it was as if, oh no, you know, she never went anywhere.
For any of your fans that would love to buy the album or would love to listen to some of the songs, what would you say would be the essence of this album?
Love. L-O-V-E. You know, L-O-V-E. Don't feel bad about how you feel on that particular day with your whatever emotion that you're going through at that moment. It's part of love. You know, you feel different things, you know, so let it happen. Just go with the flow, you know, and it's also love in a very light-hearted manner. You know, it's not love in a serious way, like, oh, you've done me wrong. No, it's all those different emotions, but in a light-hearted manner.
Zonke, in 2018, what are we expecting? Anything that you can tell us?
Well, in 2018, the album is coming out. Obviously, I've got my own label, record label, Lily Music.
Congratulations.
And I'm hoping to, you know, listen to some great music. So if somebody has amazing, different stuff, you know, send it through to us, lilymusic at gmail.com. So I hope to develop, you know, other artists at some point, but my album is coming out. That's like the first thing that I'm excited about. And a lot of things and possibly a tour. So people must watch out for that. The dates will be all over my social media at Zonke Music. So I mean, there's a lot of things happening, you know.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Zonke Dikana, songstress, absolutely beautiful, a writer, a producer, and an all-round phenomenal woman. We'll wrap it up there. At least for now, do stay tuned to Trendz. We'll take a short break.
Hello, I'm Simpiwe Ngongwane, and as usual, I'm in the company of the pearl of the show. And yes, I'm Pearl Shongwe, and this is the weekend edition of Morning Live,
where we bring you news stories making headlines, weather updates, and the latest in the world of sports.
Every weekend on Saturday and Sunday mornings, we bring you, our viewer, vibrant, exciting, informative current stories here on the SABC News Channel 404.
And we also put a spotlight on creative art stories, book reviews, poetry, and various topical stories. We also bring you live outside broadcast as well as live music performances. All of this every weekend between 6 and 9 here on the SABC News Channel 404.
Welcome back to Trendz. Well, I am joined now by YoungstaCPT, the rapper, who has been in the music industry for the past 13 years and is still pushing the hustle very, very hard. He has shared the stage with the likes of Kulichana, Rick, as well as Hip Hop Antula. A very good, warm welcome to YoungstaCPT. It's very good to have you in studio today. Essentially, just take us through your career and your journey over the past 13 years.
Okay, first and foremost, my career is so exciting because you know, I'm the one that like pushed to be where I am now, you know, like, and you know, in the music industry, like I had a very, very long journey, you know, and sharing the stage with the likes of like the one that you mentioned, your WHP, your Questa, your Kulichana, Rick. So it really grown me in a way whereby I'm now a stability man. You know, I know what to do, I know what to say, I know how to write, I know what the consumers want. So it is so interesting that it is so like challenging in a way, you know, because I'm not relying on anyone except myself and my team. So yeah, it's just like that.
And what sort of inspiration have you drawn, not only from the music that you produce, but also being able to work with the likes of your Kulichanas, your WHPs? I mean, these are hip-hop heavyweights in South Africa.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, like, I mean, a success without the success is failure. You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, as I was copying them, like, and I discovered that, okay, if I'm gonna be in their midst, and then I'm gonna create the next WHP within YoungstaCPT fame. You get what I'm saying? So like my inspiration is that these people are very working hard, so they don't have time to play. So like it's the one that I've gained. Yeah.
And what are you currently working on?
Okay, right now I'm busy with an EP that is going to be out very, very soon. I'm going to be on a tour, and I'm working with Too Sly. He's my producer. He's also someone that I rap with. I have Kleeboy here. He's part of my team, and I'm involved at most in giving back. You know, I'm a social person. Like there's this initiative that we're doing, Barefoot Walk. You know, so like what we do, like we go to the primary school and then we give out the school shoes to the most I can say disadvantaged, you know. So yeah, this is what I'm doing. Like I'm a social person apart from me being in studio or as an artist.
Yeah, that's really great. Thank you very much for joining us in studio. Of course, YoungstaCPT telling us all about who he is as well as who he's collaborated with and what we can expect from him this year and what he's been working on. So with that being said, I'm going to leave you with just a little taste of what we can expect from him.
Low pieces bambi punching, phuza ama-drinks amaningi uzozuvela iphuza face kuseforce khona abantu abatsha
ngathi last day on earth engithi khona abantu abasaka ngathi last day on earth engithi khona abantu abasaka ngathi last day on earth engithi khona abantu abasaka ngathi it's the last day on earth sebashaya ngale phuza face engathi phuza face sebashaya ngale phuza face engithi phuza face hayi wena ambonjwayo kuze kuzumatsala ambonjwayo
yile straight after straight ngoba bayadabula bethi izitsha zami zase-cross
money show off
izintsha shisela despeedy
nasismino
imali ihliwe pastor phekela amarotantwana dletsahlela ichiscop istala nemali full stop azikalo i-makeup isazophela kuyasho labantwana basekethe foslo jovicho aphumule bungadili bafune khikhini awuziphethela ama-scop dry wozo
abasibele kancane abasibele kancane
sibele kancane
ntwana abasibele kancane abasibele kancane
abasibele kancane ntwana abasibele kancane abasibele kancane sibele kancane
abasibele kancane abasibele kancane.
Well, if that is anything to go by there, the South African hip-hop scene is about to see some really great talent this year. Let's move on to some film news. The Cannes Film Festival returns with a brand new slate of brilliant films, all vying for that very top prize. But the competition is not only the focus at the 10-day extravaganza. The festival also incorporates various other programs for the development of film across the globe.
Celebs set the red carpet alight as they arrived for the opening night ceremony. Running from the 8th to the 19th of May, the festival will feature films from producers and directors from around the world. The National Film and Video Foundation, an agency of the Department of Arts and Culture, once again leads the delegation representing South Africa at Cannes Film Festival. The NFVF will officially co-host the South African Pavilion with the Industrial Development Corporation. The IDC is invested in the development of the South African media and motion pictures industry and welcomed the partnership with NFVF, seeing it as an opportunity to support the creative work done by South African producers. There are 5 South African films which form part of the official program.
Instead, we're going to be something real. Yes, something real.
And in the spotlight is Kenyan South African film Rafiki, which was recently banned in Kenya. The cast of the Kenyan love story attended the film's premiere in Cannes this past week, knowing that it will not be seen by audiences at home because of a census ban for promoting lesbianism. The film, which tells the story of 2 teenage girls who fall in love on a Nairobi housing estate, has fallen foul of a colonial-era laws banning gay sex and, according to census, undermines Kenyan family values. It is co-produced by South African producer Stephen Markowitz, and it is the first Kenyan film to be selected for the Cannes Film Festival and features in the uncertain regard category. John Trengove's Inleba, which falls in the same vein as Rafiki when it made headlines and caused a social media uproar recently for its explicit content. The story about Xhosa culture and same-sex relationships has also been selected to screen at the festival. The SAFTA multi-award winner has been incorporated in the Cannes film market as a framework of the Producers Network program case study. Other films from SA being featured are Miles from Nowhere, directed by Samantha Nell and produced by Bongiwe Silani, The Color of the Skull from director Subshongwe Lemur, and co-produced with producers from various other countries such as France and Poland. Lastly, The Harvesters, directed by Etienne Callos and produced by Cinema de Facto of France in co-production with Greece, Poland and South Africa's Spear Films. The NFVF has provided support to 7 South African filmmakers to attend the festival through the markets and the festival travel grant. The purpose of the grant is to provide financial support for South African filmmakers to attend local and international film festivals to promote their projects.
Living a healthy lifestyle that includes healthy eating as well as exercise has become more trendy. Well, this you see on social media platforms of most local as well as international celebrities who post their exercise routines and what they eat. Now the question is, are you following a healthy diet and do you exercise regularly? Well, if you don't despair. I'm now joined in studio with the fitness trainer Edlin Search, who is here with us to talk about his new fitness book titled Create a Balance. The book is aimed at giving you a foundation to a healthy lifestyle. Very good afternoon to you, Edlin. Thank you very much for joining us. You know, in having a look at creating a lifestyle, what is the first point in being able to create a lifestyle and not making it just a seasonal fad, like I'm trying to lose weight for a wedding or I'm trying to get my summer body goals? Where do we start?
You have to start with the commitment of getting it started, then the consistency behind it. And the reason of being is you want to live a good life, but obviously save money at the same time, but do what you need to do without being ill or sickly.
Yeah. Let's talk about nutrition when you're exercising and how important it is.
Nutrition is the foundation of everything, basically, especially with exercising. And you got to know what you're eating and you got to know what you need, not what you want to eat, what you need to eat in order to stay healthy.
How long have you been in the industry, and just take us through the caliber of clients that you have. I do know somewhat from what I've seen on Instagram, you are kind of a trainer to the stars. Your Ayanda Tabetes, Amanda DuPont.
Yeah. I've been in this industry for more than 7 years.
Yeah.
It all began not in South Africa, it was overseas. And at the moment I am a celebrity trainer. I train the likes of Anati, Ayanda Tabeta, Amanda DuPont, Zulu Makatini, a Dream Team. And formerly was, when I was in Durban, I trained some people as well, some celebrities there.
Now I'm looking at your book and it's called Create a Balance. It gives you detox ideas as well as smoothie ideas and meal prep. So I'll just hold it up. Here it is. It's called Create a Balance, and it is quite thin. So I do believe that it is more or less something that someone could follow, because it's not this huge big encyclopedia textbook of nutrition and exercise and whatnot. What makes your book and your fitness book different from some of the books that are already out there?
I made it for everyone, for any forms of basically money that you have, any forms of income that you get. So it's simple, it's basic, and if you give people too much, they won't even look at it.
Yeah.
So you have to start off slowly, then you get to know what else goes on.
In terms of exercising and training, where would you say is the difference?
Exercising, basically people normally come to gym, walking on a treadmill on their cell phone for 5 to 10 minutes. Then they get slowly into it. When you come into gym with a purpose in terms of training, you know what you're doing before you get there. Or someone that you're training with and knows what is set up for you.
Yeah.
So as you get there, you get your stuff done and you leave. No one should be there for more than 45 minutes to an hour.
Edlin, I want to talk about the mental and the emotional psyche behind training and exercising. Of course, it's good, you know, if you're someone who's depressed, it's good if you're dealing with a lot of emotions and anxiety. But just take us through the relationship between exercising and food, and not turning to food as a way of releasing your emotions and rather getting into the gym and training.
With the food side of it, most people think that eating healthy it doesn't have that same effect as normal other food. And you don't want to eat it because it's broccoli, asparagus, and it's way it's made, but it's not. There are spices you can use, and when you start enjoying it, the exercise comes easy because you got more to put into it.
And what inspired you behind your book?
I was overseas helping a lot of people stay healthy and be healthy. Then inspired me is that South Africans, we do need help. Everything it's out of order when it comes to health. And we're leading downwards instead of upwards.
Indeed. And in terms of, you know, the woman that you've been able to help and creating self-confidence, you know, as a personal trainer, but also as a person in giving back, just take us through that experience.
For me, it was a long journey, and then I started to adapt when I started to learn more about the food. then I started to influence other people around me. Then everyone else that adapted to this is giving in more than what they're supposed to. I mean, you have less visits to the doctor, you have more family time, more everything else. So it's a good change for the better.
Definitely. Thank you very much for joining us in studio, Edlin Surges, and taking us through his new book. It's called Creating a Balance, and it's for anybody that wants to lead a healthy lifestyle and indeed one that is maintainable for all. On that note, let's take a short break here on Trendz. Do stay tuned. We'll be back for more. Welcome back. Well, it's regarded as one of the most exclusive social fundraising events in New York, held annually. The Met Gala is attended by personalities from arts, fashion, film and music who come out dressed to their nines with getting it right sometimes and sometimes others missing the brief. Well, this year's theme was Heavenly Bodies, Fashion and Catholic Imagination. Well, joining me to unpack the biggest night of fashion is Leroy Mark as well as Kelly. A very good afternoon to you guys. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, the theme here was something very different. It's definitely something that we didn't expect.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at some of the images. We'll start with J-Lo.
Cool.
Heavenly Bodies, Heavenly Bodies.
So this was one of my favorite ones, actually. I think Balmain did very well with the people they dressed on the red carpet. Always big on embellishment.
Yeah,
always so much bigger.
There's a picture,
yeah. So, I mean, the silhouette's almost a bit boring because she does it quite often.
I kind of disagree with her. I mean, she looks great, but I think she didn't.
Yeah.
It was a bit boring. I thought it was very predictable.
Well, I don't know. I thought because she's always sort of dressed up. She likes the Armani Privé, the lace and the big taffeta. I like the fact it was a heavy garment, a bit of the ostrich feather at the bottom, and in keeping with the theme. Balmain does this thing where they dress everyone, they all look the same. This time it did come off with a bit of a flair, which I really liked.
The one thing that I did like about it is you definitely can see that it's Balmain. Definitely the signature high shoulder pads. So that was nice. I like the way that her hair was back. But in terms of the theme and going all out, I think she could have pushed it a bit more.
I think she played it safe, but I mean, she looks incredible for her age.
Yeah, she definitely does. Let's go on to the next person. Just waiting for the images to come in. Ah, there we go.
I knew it.
So we had to fight about this in the green room.
Okay, let's hear what happened.
I'll let you go first, Kelly.
Well, you know what? I think Kim is Kim, and I think everybody, love her or hate her. She always does her best to look herself. I think for this particular theme, I think she played it incredibly safe. I thought those crosses were pretty much like a last-minute sew-on. I mean, it fits beautifully, but I was a bit disappointed.
So, I mean, she took the inspiration from the Holy Grail, so, the chalice, the Last Supper, and it did work well with her physique because she does have an hourglass shape. But I think for the Met Gala, it's fashion's big night. It's like the Oscars for fashion. And she came in the same silhouette, in the strappy gown. I mean, as you say, the crosses were like a last add-on. For me, it was just like,
Well, she definitely got the heavenly body on.
Oh yeah, she got that right.
I mean, she didn't even need a dress for that. I like the sophistication of the hairstyle though, and you know she did keep true to Kim's style, which over the years it's been more chic, classic, tailored, very simple. You know, in reading in some of the comments of Met Gala, those are always the funniest. Someone was like, you know, putting a cross on doesn't make it heavenly.
Well, I mean, with her, she's also had quite a few faux pas on the red carpet, and this was my favorite look of
this was the showstopper. Let's talk about Blake Lively.
So she came through, she attended the show with Christian Louboutin, and for me, it's because she's got that long train and the embellishment. But sticking with her theme, Kelly, I think I will agree with this one, it was a bit demure for the theme. You know, she could have done so much more. Yes, there's drama, yes, there's high style, but as far as the Met Gala for the theme, yeah.
Versace, very classic Versace, deep, rich colours. Having a look at the prelude to her actually getting to the Met Gala, she had to get into a party bus. With an entourage of 8 people just to fit in. So there's a lot of detail that went into this, but I think it wasn't enough to be that showstopper.
It didn't hold enough. I mean, she was wearing a Versace robe before she put this on when she was getting into that party bus, and I thought that looked a bit more sort of lively, you know, excuse the pun, because it was just something different. This is great for the Oscars, it's great for the Academy Awards, it's great for the red carpet, but for me at the Met Gala,
a little bit more play, I think. But she does look incredibly regal. Which
she does. She does look royal.
Exactly.
All right. We saw a lot of Met Gala gowns coming through. Let's have a look at this one. This was quite controversial. Many loved it. The Riri Nation loved it.
Did you like it?
I did like it.
Tell us what you like about it.
You know what? I think that Rihanna doesn't dress for aesthetic. She dresses. She has a lot of thought behind what she wears. You've seen this in the history of her Met Gala outfits. She really tries to push the envelope a little bit, and makes us think and makes us question. And I think that is such an essential role of fashion. So I think in that way she's incredibly successful.
This was John Galliano, right, who designed this? And for me, I wanted just a bit more. And someone said to me, you know, she had always done the very long train, and this had like 1,000 hours of beading put into it, and she flew someone 3,000 miles to do her eyebrows. So she did put a lot of thought around it. For me, I thought that, you know, Rihanna's great because she's a designer's dream. You put whatever on her, it looks absolutely great. I did think though that I would have done a different shoe altogether, because I just felt that it took away from the sort of, you know, the monotone, bright embellishment that she had. But it's Rihanna and she can do no wrong.
In terms of, you know, what you mentioned earlier in her pushing the envelope, I do believe that this is very Riri. And as much as it's Met Gala, she never really conforms to be the sophisticated ball of the bell. She will, I'm Rihanna, this is what I'm wearing.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, also Katy Perry coming with wings.
I think she tries way too hard. This is almost like the opposite of Rihanna. Like she just pushes too hard, and it's sometimes unnecessary.
Someone said that this looks like Victoria's Secret angel that had fallen. And I agree completely. I think, you know, she is a pop princess, so she does, you know, she wears cupcake bras and that kind of thing.
Oh wow, you're right.
Well, she did. And pink hair, and I think, you know, with the $25 million she's making from the X Factor American Idol, she could do a bit better. I found it to be incredibly boring and almost a cop out with the wings.
Very literal.
And the boots.
Totally wrong fit. They looked a little bit cheap, in my opinion.
Like a candy wrapper.
Yeah.
It's just.
Okay, let's move on, Leroy.
I think she's screaming for attention.
Salon.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Where do we begin?
Where do we begin?
From the bottom or from the top?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the look because it was sort of breaking out of the mold, but I sort of felt like it was sort of, you know, she was the 13th or 14th Avenger. It looked a little too play for me. The latex was too much, I think, but I did enjoy the halo. Apparently, that's how you get away with this particular theme. You put a halo on, you can get away with it.
Is that a halo? Because I was trying to decipher if this was a nun, with a nun inspiration. So she's an angel.
Yeah, I think Beyonce didn't help her this time because she was missing in action on the red carpet, so she sort of tried to carry the whole family dynasty, and I think it failed.
Your views, Kelly?
Look, I still think she gets her silhouette. Her silhouettes are really interesting. Her choices of garments are interesting. She's not pushing too hard, but she is trying to do something new. I can't really fault her.
This one coming in, this one is, I think, a bit on the darker side.
So Madonna has done this look a million times.
She's the OG.
Yeah, so I mean, she's done this. I mean, she performed like a prayer in a white version of this at the gala. I just thought it looked a little she could have done so much more, especially because she's done it for so long. Like, she is the god puppy mummy of this.
But the theme was Catholic heavenly. So what, is she a witch? I don't know. Was she a witch?
Like a wicca? Like, I don't know.
A wizard that's got nothing to...
And I wanted so much less fabric. I mean, you know, people like Cardi B did lots of fabric, which worked out for them. Madonna just sort of drawn out, and especially with that very pale skin, it just seems... And those black roses, is it a wedding? What is happening?
I just thought her face was melting under that, that netting. I think she's hiding something.
I still though appreciate her artistic aesthetic that she tries to bring. I mean, Madonna always has that thing, regardless of what she's wearing. What would Madonna wear? She still has that. This one, Mr. Prince of Wakanda.
We loved it.
Yes, I saw this trending on Twitter, and they were also likening him to the Black Jesus.
Yes, he did very well. So he is in Bulgaria, and he is chosen by Christian Louboutin. And what I enjoyed about it was that everyone thought that he'd come with the Pope hat, because when I saw the snippets before, I was like, oh, it's going to be generic, he's going to come dressed as the Pope, and it really looked good and very different from the Black Panther. And for me, it was the fact that also this is a cape, so he has, like, you know, slits out, but the jacket itself is really, really well embroidered underneath, which is, you know, also quite nice. So I really like this look. I think this, for me, for the guys, was the best dress.
Me too. Spot on in terms of theme, but also incredibly stylish and different.
And his hair was gold. He had gold spray in his hair.
All right, let's have a look at some of the men that we can compare. I think he would be best dressed, no?
Yeah, I enjoyed Lewis Hamilton. I thought Trevor Noah, he's also in Balmain.
I quite like Trevor Noah.
Yeah, I think...
Clean. I think Trevor's, he's nice because he doesn't try to step into a territory that he knows nothing about.
Yes, he's not a fashionista,
I think the cross, for me, was sort of misplaced. It sort of looked like there's like sticky on tape.
I know, I disagree. I thought it was quite like an interesting...
like part of it, yeah. So I think it photographs really well from the side. I would have loved to see more sort of a profile photo of him. I hated the boots Lewis had on because it looked like he was sort of going to go ice skating afterwards.
Oh my goodness.
But it was, you know, the embellishment was clearly a big trend on the red carpet for the gala. And he had like thousands of rings and he just took it there.
It's nice to see men playing a little bit with embellishment.
In terms of the Met Gala, for someone that's actually watching now and kind of sees the Met Gala trending every single year but doesn't necessarily know what it is, what essentially is the Met Gala?
Gonna go? Zonke. So the editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine, they hold it every year on the first Monday in May at the Museum of Modern Art in New York, and basically it's a big fundraiser. You get invited to pay to attend, like $25,000 a person.
Yes, it's a lot of money to attend.
Yeah, and it is fashion's big night out. You know, Rihanna is the co-chair this year, and that is as good as being crowned the princess of fashion. So it's held at the museum. They have a theme every year, and this is what makes it so interesting, that we get to see how the designers and the celebrities interpret the theme, and the money goes to charity to help fashion students.
Right. Okay, great. And I think it's just a great event where the main focus is fashion. Whereas, you know, with Oscars or the Grammys, there's always another focus, whether it's music or film. This is purely a fashion night. Right.
All right, so in terms of, you know, some of the looks that we've just seen now, what are your favorite, your yays, your nays, your do's, your don'ts, your burns, your maybe keeps?
I hated Cardi B, and I mean also this little two-piece number of being friends and, you know, your designer dressing with you. I really hate it. I hate it because she's pregnant and she's quite a petite lady. Okay. And there was lots of fabrics. The idea was brilliant. I liked the execution somewhat, but I would have done less with the wings on the side because it made her look even bigger because she's so tiny. Okay. I could not be bothered for any of the Jenners, whether it's Kendall or...
I thought they completely went off the mark.
Kendall looked like she was just going to pop into like a business meeting real quick and then pop out, you know, and she wore white head to toe, but she's never been a great one. She wore Calvin Klein the year before.
I was also quite disappointed with Selena Gomez, who kind of wore very nondescript kind of non-shaped thing.
But you liked Zendaya, and so did I.
I love Zendaya. There was something quite warrior-esque about her, quite Joan of Arc. Very different, very different to what you would see on a red carpet, and I love that.
Couldn't stand Ariana Grande.
No, hated that.
It was just fabric upon fabric.
Was there anything that you guys did like? Our fashion for
we liked Rihanna.
We love Rihanna. I actually like Lily Collins. I don't know if anyone saw. She had like her makeup was also incredible with the red tear. Okay. She had like a blood tear and the black. It was so beautiful.
Jared Leto and crew.
Jared Leto, Lana Del Rey, and Alessandra Michele from Gucci were a perfect trio.
Chadwick. I mean, he's
Chadwick
amazing.
was great.
And then in
Poor guy.
terms of the guys, I'm taking Mr. Prince of Wakanda takes it, right?
Oh no, he takes it twice.
I mean,
he takes it home.
He takes it twice and then he takes it home again.
It was just because it's such an interesting silhouette. I mean, last year, P. Diddy tried very, you know, he had the long coat and then he had the embellishment in the front. But this from color to sort of, I mean, I saw the video before and he had like 3 pairs of shoes to choose from to tie into it. So he really went in and colored his hair gold and it really, really worked out. And I think, you know, when we often miss people on the red carpet because it's such a busy night and people run in and there was a proposal on the red carpet. Did you know?
I did.
2 Chainz. No one cares.
So in 10 seconds from the both of you, your do's and don'ts for any fashion award.
Do's, really consider your outfit, thinking of clever ways to bring across your message, not just putting on a giant pair of wings. Because I think everybody's over that. The gimmicks, don't do the gimmicks.
I'm the same. I think be very event appropriate and remember what's the point of the event. The Met Gala, it's pantomime. It's all big, it's showy, it's fashion. Go all the way in. It's almost like going to a wedding and wearing white. You know, it's sort of got dressed not to dress to the occasion. Dress for the occasion.
Well, there we have it. Our fashion police have spoken. The do's and the don'ts for any awards gala. Thank you very much for joining us in studio, Kelly Fung, as well as Leroy Mark. Well, unfortunately, the hour has gone by so quickly. That brings a wrap up to Trends. Thank you very much for joining myself, Shante Yankis. We'll leave you with the beautiful sounds of Zonke Dikana coming from her new album, Love.
Who am I not to be?